Balochistan sounds good.
We are from
Balochistan.
Got it.
From
Just a couple of thoughts. Most of you know that I was a speechwriter and a special assistant to President Reagan when he was President of the United States. And I was very inspired earlier today when I was walking near here at the American Embassy, and there's a statue of Ronald Reagan. And I just took note that most people believe that Reagan, won the Cold War, and they think that he was a militarist and because he increased the military capabilities of the United States. But in reality, Ronald Reagan was not someone who accomplished things through big deployments of American troops. His theory was, it's called the Reagan Doctrine, is what ended the Cold War without having to have a major fight between Russia and the United States. That's probably one of his greatest accomplishments. Is here we did communism was threatening us and threatening and engaged in horrible activities throughout the world, and we didn't end up in an actual major war, World War III. And how did he manage to do that? He supported people. We call it the Reagan Doctrine, who were struggling for their freedom, and their oppressors were enemies of the United States. And that made sense to me, and I helped develop that theory and work with the president on it. And during the Cold War, however, before Ronald Reagan, we spent a lot of time doing things, trying to confront communism in ways that were not really productive. For example, we did support dictatorships in various parts of the world, and we compromised our principles of freedom of speech and democracy, and that didn't further things along. But what most people don't understand was that after Reagan's term, and when he was done, there was an incredible increase in democracy, for example, throughout Central America. Those countries had been dictators. The United States had helped them become dictators, I might add. And Reagan made it not, we're going to stop communism. Reagan made it a fight between democracy and freedom and human rights on one side, and communism and dictatorship on the other. And that's how we won. That's a great success. But there are a lot of things that are left over. There's a lot of mindsets that are left over. And one of those mindsets is that Pakistan is America's friend because they're our friend in the Cold War. That thought and that mindset is causing great destruction today and heartache and hardship among people, because we all know that Pakistan is not our friend. It's not the friend of the United States. It's not the friend of any people that love freedom. And the United States, if we don't believe, if we don't support people who are struggling for freedom, what do we believe in? So that mindset is something that we still have not totally overcome. It is sinful of the United States, with all of the evidence that Pakistan is one of the major forces behind the evil in the world, that is the most destructive of innocent people right now, is radical Islam. I'm not saying Islam, because radical Islam murders more Islamic people than they do Christians and others. In fact, in Balochistan is evidence of that, where you've got Pakistani murderers who control the ISI, radical Islam, personified, murdering the people of Balochistan to try to suppress them. And we need to make sure that we are breaking out of that Cold War mentality, working with people in countries that will help us defeat radical Islam, and also, I believe, China. Ironically, of course, Pakistan is China's best ally, right? I mean, this makes no sense at all for the United States. But I can see where people would be frustrated with our country. I'm very pleased that we have someone like Judge Poe on our side and others. There's only a gang of a few of us now, but we're fighting for the right. So you can expect our numbers to grow, because we're unapologetic about what we're doing. We had a hearing last year on human rights abuses in, there in Balochistan, and I would think that maybe the judge and I could work together on a hearing, perhaps on, what do you think, Your Honor, on Pakistani state-supported terrorism? Might be a good subject for a hearing. I won't put him on the spot right now, I just did. But anyway, that's, don't think that you're alone, but it takes time. I was mentioning that in the American Revolution, it took a lot. People think the American Revolution, we defeated the British, which is the strongest empire in the world. People thought the Americans were all unified and just went, it was a tough fight, but we eventually overcame the British. There was only about 25% of the American people who supported the American Revolution. Then you got about 25% who were pro-British. They were traitors to us. Not them. And then 50% of the people of our country were just waiting around to see who was going to win. And then it would be on their side. And so this, I know that there's going to be ups and downs in the Baloch struggle for freedom. But I want you to know that we recognize the most important thing in our revolution was that we had someone to help us. There are two pictures on the floor of the House of Representatives. One is George Washington, a beautiful painting. And there's a painting of another man about this size. Do you know who that is? The only other picture on the floor of the House. Lafayette.
Frenchman.
And it's there because to remind the American people that some people from the outside came to help us win our freedom and set us on a course to independence and democracy. And that we as a people owe other people a debt of gratitude. Well, how we pay that gratitude off is to help people like yourselves who are struggling to build free countries and struggling against the odds. So I'm very, very pleased to be here. You can count on us to try to be behind you all we can. And we can count on a few of us to try to use our influence to make sure that the United States gets out of this policy that's so bad and so immoral of supporting these gangsters like the ones in Pakistan and the ISI. And you can count on us to do our best to work with you and to create a better world. Because we know, for example, we have Qasim over here who's an Afghan. We know that if we can get the ISI and these radical Muslims there in Pakistan who now are struggling to hurt the West and create instability, if we get them out of the way, we can create a corridor from Central Asia right into Balochistan with Afghanistan and create a prosperity and freedom that will go way beyond what the Silk Route was all about. This will create a whole new era of prosperity and stability for Central Asia. But we have to have the courage to stand up to these evil people in Pakistan. So we're with you. We're going to try our best, those of us, and the numbers in the United States House, as we move forward, will grow in support of your cause. So thank you all very much. This is a man who used to be